guys, it's Actor coming at you today in Clash Royale. How you guys doing? Welcome to the video. Sending some positive vibes, especially if you need them today. Sending some love your way. Today we're going to talk about probably the most polarizing deck in the history of Clash Royale. It is 2.6 Hog Cycle. This is kind of a follow-up video. We've done one like this with the Wizard. We've done one like this with the Mega Knight. Just talking about why these cards or decks in today's case are so divisive. So thanks to Royale API, where you guys can check out the hottest decks, the hottest cards, the win rates, what's going on right now in the zeitgeist of Clash Royale, we can sort the most popular deck. This is the most popular deck currently on ladder, and it's basically always the same. It's 2.6 Hog Cycle. You probably know the deck. You probably know every single card in your deck, in this deck, excuse me, blindfolded. Heck, if someone plays a Musketeer in the back, or an Ice Golem as their first play, or even a Hog, I think it's safe to assume now, given the popularity over the last years, half a decade of this deck, I think it's safe to assume that we all generally think, yeah, probably 2.6 Hog Cycle, right? So how do you guys feel about this deck? Do you get annoyed by it? Do you not mind it at all because you played it a billion times? Just to put it into perspective, guys, 1.7% use rate on ladder with this deck is actually very, very high. Let's go ahead and scroll down to look at the number 2 most popular deck on ladder. It's Logbait. Surprise, surprise, right? So Logbait again, number 3. Surprise, surprise, it's P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam. But look at the use rates. We get a 0.5 use rate on P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam. We have a 0.9 use rate on Logbait, and then a 1.7, almost double the number 2 on 2.6 Hog Cycle. So yeah, it's crazy popular. If we look at the Hog Rider's overall win and use rates right now, we can see he's in 1/4 of decks, just the Hog Rider. 1/4 of decks on all of ladder. That's incredible. That's a lot of Hog Rider decks. I don't need to tell you guys this because if you play ladder, you know you're familiar with Mr. Hog Rider. And then we have a 50% win rate, which is, well, literally 50-50. So, when a card has this high of a use percentage, we always mention this here on the channel, generally we see a win rate that's probably a little bit lower than normal because so many bad players and good players play the card when it's that popular in 1/4 of every deck. So I don't read too much into the win percentage when the use percentage gets higher than, say, 10%. Okay, but let's see what the community thinks of this. We had my man Big Meat 496. What's up, Big Meat? Shout out to all the Big Meat fans out there in the viewers. Anyway, we have a 2.6 Hog Cycle. He says, why do people complain about this deck? Simple question. So let's go ahead and see what people say. And again, I really want to see what you guys say about this deck, because I have strong opinions, which I'll give right after I read some of the top responses to this Reddit thread from a couple days ago. Kaimat says, it's been a thing for too long. I'm simply tired of playing it. Clash Royale is a good game because it changes, and it's not the same thing over and over. There's variation match to match. This gets rid of that. If I could see every Hog Cycle match I've ever been in, there's so many that it would be nearly identical. That's boring. Interesting hot take here from Kaimat7777. He says, it just makes for boring gameplay. Do you guys feel that way when you go against Logbait or 2.6? Like, okay, I've done this a million times. It's boring to me. Again, I'm going to reserve my opinion just a little bit longer here because ProClaws brings up a very good point. It also was one of the first free-to-play decks to use. And that is absolutely true. It's still a very free-to-play friendly deck. People forget that when this deck was discovered, I like the word discovered when decks, right? I like that word. It's actually it holds true, right? Because it hasn't changed for so long. There's different versions of Hog Rider decks, but 2.6 has basically always been 2.6. So I think using the word discovered is actually oddly appropriate, even though I wouldn't normally use that word to describe a deck in Clash Royale. That leveling cards up was harder. So leveling up cards back in the day was so much harder. We have a tendency to complain about cards right now in the game in terms of it takes forever to get enough gold to upgrade them and get more cards, etc., etc. Back in my day, boys and girls, and I know a lot of you viewers as well, a lot of you OGs in the audience, dude, first of all, when this game came out, it cost gold to play on ladder. That's how bad it was, man. Forget about cards. It would cost, I think, something around $14,000 US to max out your deck when this game came out. Right now, sure, the cost would be very high, but if you're patient enough with, special offers and everything like that, and just grinding out and so much more to the game from Royale Pass and everything else, magic items, it wouldn't be that expensive, and even free-to-play players, it's a lot easier than it used to be. There's a lot to complain about, sure, in the game, but we must remember how much progress we have made. And 2.6 Hog Cycle was a good choice for free-to-play players in the high ladder. That's definitely true. And he said it's hard to nerf it because it's so reliable for free-to-play, says Anime Lover 28 blah, blah, blah. It's also hard to justify nerfing it when the deck isn't doing so well. Even if you wanted to do so to push down the usage rate, which you should not, most of the cards of the deck aren't even that good independently of one another. The only two cards that remain that remotely see nerfs are the Cannon, the Log, and Skeletons, all three of which considered strong at best. That's three, he says, I am Legend. Cannon nerf, please no. Skeletons, WTF, Log's been nerfed. I actually tend to agree with I Am Legend. I don't want to see a nerf to any of those three cards personally, nor do I want to see a nerf to the deck in general. So guys, what I want to do here is Laughs in Lava Loon, Inferno Dragon, all air deck, right? So Big Sad Oof says, yo, well, I got lava, bro. Here's the thing about lava decks, though. If you ask any pro player out there or any, analyst out there, any coach, they will tell you that, it really depends on the lava deck. Not every Lava Hound deck has an advantage over 2.6. 2.6 has an advantage, and really good 2.6 players can utilize that cannon and cycling, activate King Tower, get a lot of damage out of that fireball. So it really depends on the deck. There's a big debate over what the matchup is. You guys can read that. I'll have a link to this entire thing for you guys as well. But I do want to move on to the most popular, the most upvoted, I should say, comment here, and it's My Ghost in the Fog. He says, I complain because it's too boring again. Been going against this deck on a regular basis. I started playing in 2016 without it changing a single card. That's now 7 years nearly of going against the same exact deck. So pretty boring to BH. Worst thing is you see a Hog and a Musk and you think it's this deck, and then the opponent casually drops a Mega Knight. You know what? That's true too, right? I said earlier, when they drop those cards, you just assume it's going to be 2.6 Hog Cycle. But my man's like, yeah, when they drop a Mega Knight, when they just throw you with the curveball, you're like, wait a second. It's happened to me too, right? I've been running 2.9 Expo and people absolutely hate me. Same cards as 2.6, just with an Expo thrown on instead of a Hog. And then they goes, I hate you. And Emotional Damage 992 says, I hate you. I hate this guy too. I also hate this guy. I also hate this guy. I also hate this guy. Well, you guys get the point. Not a big fan of 2.9, which is least popular, 2.6 or 2.9. Guys, listen, you can go ahead and check out this thread. There's a ton more opinions here. Pekka Bridge Spam complaints as well. Hasn't changed a lot. And it's no surprise that those three decks are the three most popular decks in the game, right? I mean, I didn't even look at them, honestly, before starting to hit record. I looked at number one being 2.6. I didn't look at Logbait or Pekka Bridge Spam, but it's not a surprise at all. It's not a shocker, right? So how do I feel about the deck? First of all, I do not think that 2.6 needs to be nerfed. Second of all, I think I'm going to be in the minority here, but I got to be honest with you guys. It's the whole point of these videos. I don't really get annoyed by 2.6. Why? I don't know. When I go against 2.6, I don't find it particularly boring. I actually find a weird sense of comfort in knowing that I pretty much have my strategy down no matter what deck I'm playing, because I played so many matches against 2.6. So I should have a winning strategy, or at least the blueprint of a winning strategy in my head. So I am in the minority, considering I don't think anything should be nerfed, although I'm not sure, 100% sure on that one. I'm going to post a community tab poll, by the way, guys. I have which giant do you prefer? Giant Skeleton, edging out the Electro Giant and the most popular giant in the game. 31,000 of you guys voted. I'm going to have a poll today after this video goes live talking about, do you love or hate 2.6? Just flat out, right? I imagine most of you guys are going to hate it. The most annoying emote in Clash Royale, Princess Yawn, takes the cake there. However, there was a lot of comments saying that it should be the Knight waving his hands, default laugh and cry are unmatched, and the hammer smashing. Nothing worse than the hammer smashing. So you guys can go ahead and weigh in there, let you know. And the strongest spirit in the game, you guys overwhelmingly think, is the Ice Spirit. Those are my last three community tab polls. I will check back in on those from time to time. Anyway, guys, to end the conversation about 2.6, I don't find it annoying. I don't think they should nerf the deck at all. I do find it still free-to-play friendly, right? It's still a deck that, a lot of players rely on who are not spenders in this game. You got to remember, there's still millions of players, over 1 million players downloading Clash Royale for the first time every month. Sure, it's easier to upgrade cards than it ever has been, but At the end of the day, if you're free to play, it's still going to take you a while to do it, right? So I would not want to adversely affect them. So I guess I'm okay with 2.6, man. I don't know what it is. You guys tell me in the comments below why I am wrong, or why you agree with me. But if you do disagree with me, keep things constructive. Don't just say you're a dummy, Ash. Although you can say that too. I don't mind. Whatever. Got the target on me here in this video. But now I want you guys to give me the reason why I'm wrong, right? Do you have something to add to any of those Reddit comments? If so, how would you deal with this issue? How would you deal with the 2.6 Hog Rider dilemma? Guys, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, take care, guys.